सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। हरि ओम. We shall study one of the most comprehensive text written by Bhagavan Shri Adi Shankaracharya ji, and which is also very important for all the seekers, as this gives us many layers of sadhana, and sadhana from different angles, so that a spiritual seeker's journey would become very smooth on the path of his own liberation. So Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji wrote many books. Apart from his commentaries on Brahma Sutras, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, and many textbooks Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji wrote. The list goes on. Hundreds of books, stotrams he composed. Many things he had composed. And each one of them is a great treasure for spiritual seekers. Each of his works would give a spiritual seeker a new dimension to approach the subject, so that one can transform within and then march towards his own or her own liberation. So one of the beautiful texts which contains 40 values, which we'll study in small portions. That textbook is called Sadhana Panchakam. Sadhana Panchakam. Now, Sadhana Panchakam. Panchakam means 5 verses. So, related to sadhana. So, in this Sadhana Panchakam, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji gives us 8 values, 8 pointers, 8 values in each shloka. So, 5 shlokas, 5 into 8, 40 values. And this is a beautiful text to chant every day, so that these ideas, the values Bhagavan Shankaracharya proposed, they become very deep into us. They enter into very deepest layer of the mind, and we don't forget them. So these are the 40 values which Bhagavan Shankaracharya taught us. And each value one has to meditate upon and make that value as one's own, so that without any effort, those values will start manifesting through a seeker's life. So that is the beauty. So sadhana. Sadhana means what? Sadhyate anaya iti sadhana. Sadhana means a means, an upaya, that by which I reach my goal. So sadhana means practice, simple language. So, but that sadhana is a means to achieve our sadhya vastu. Whether it is in Laukika Jagat or in Paramarthika Vishaya, in material world, or the goals are pertaining to spiritual world, or the goal which all human beings must aspire, that is liberation. So whether it is in material world or in spiritual world, these 40 values gives us a tremendous discipline, and it sets our attitude properly. So what is sadhana actually? Now, we all have different notions of sadhana depending upon our stage of evolution. We think this is what sadhana means, or this should be what it should be. Sadhana means, like, many teachers are there, lakhs of them, crores of them down the millennia. So there are different sadhanas or practices are given to different students of that particular age. So ultimately, what is sadhana? See, sadhana, I always say sadhana is not a particular practice that we do, say, for about half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour a day. But sadhana means an attitude which is to be maintained 24 hours within us. Meaning, even in deep sleep also, subconsciously, this thought should rule us. That should be there always inside. So, it's an attitude. Now, having said that, to create an attitude within us and to maintain that attitude or bhavana 24 hours, we need a practice to trigger that particular thing. So to enter into that state of practicing 24 hours an attitude, a divine attitude within, I may initiate an activity, but activity per se is not called sadhana in its fullest term completely, because sadhana means to be that sadhana what we practice on the seat of meditation or puja or anything what we do, japa, whatever sadhana we do, that has to be converted into an attitude, spiritual attitude, and that attitude has to be maintained throughout 24 hours. So when without vichitti, without any disconnection in the thought, in the bhavana. See, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, that tulya pratyaya santatihi atat pratyayahi asankirna shastra vishayalambhanacha. Pasana, what is sadhana? Jhanam, meaning means what? That a continuation of similar thoughts, not intercepted or cut by dissimilar thoughts, other thoughts. And this sadhana should have spiritual sanction, scriptural sanction. So it ka praman hona chahiye. Some praman should be there. Proof should be there. That yeah, this is sadhana is given by a guru or based on shastra, etc. So this is called sadhana. Now, so that sadhana, we need to practice about half an hour or 1 hour a day. But to create that attitude, the sadhana is necessary. Later on, in our thought, depending upon our evolution, some sadhana has to be maintained. Either we take continuous nama japa or remembering the Lord in another way, or remembering Him in the form of some principles or values that we practice. Many thoughts. Or Vedantic way of living, that I am the witness, Sakshi Bhava, or making one small bit of either Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads, contemplate on the whole day on that mentally background. So this is the piece today, passage today, on which I meditate, on which I work upon, on which I dwell. See? So, like our Utkushta sadhana, Aham Brahmasmi, that Brahma Anubhav, that Brahma Chintanam, that not forgetting that I am something pure, eternal consciousness within. So, that is called higher sadhanas. But whatever sadhana we do, ultimately, eventually, jnana devatu kaivalya. That awakening should take place, realization should take place. And realization is called real knowledge. Awakening is called real knowledge. Okay. So this is what has been told by great masters. So now, Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji Maharaj always would say that awakening into a new dimension of consciousness. He always would say, awakening into a new dimension of consciousness. So Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So sadhana has to be done. But in Vedantic Upanishadic sadhana is what? Not forgetting who we are and living a beautiful values in life. And always tuning our mind to Brahman. This is Vedantic sadhana inside. Sravana Manana Nididhyasanam. Only 3 sadhanas. Sravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Atmavare Drashtavyaha, Srotavyo, Mantavyo, Nididhyasitavyaha. Upanishad says. So now, when you understood this sadhana, that is an attitude for which I may initiate an activity in the beginning. Later on, this activity also ends when I'm always remembering that, that Aham Brahmasmi, or that Upanishadic sadhana inside. There are higher advanced states of sadhanas. But wherever we are, at whatever level we are, we must do such sadhana. And underlying point is what? Without sadhana, truth can never be revealed. Without effort, to reach that effortless state of ours, we need to put efforts to remove the obstacles en route. So many vignas are there. So many layers of ignorance are there. So to remove all these notions, misconceptions, we need to put effort. Because, the vasanas are so strong in all of us. So they keep again and again manifesting. So it's like sadhana is more or less, it becomes internal. When we really intensify our sadhana on the Jnana Marga, sadhana becomes more internal. So nobody would know that you are doing sadhana while walking, talking, eating, all these activities. So this is the beauty of Bhagavan Shankaracharya. And it can be applied to any level, at any level. That's the beauty. This interpretation can be given for anyone, for any seeker of truth. This is beautiful. So let us start this. The first value, first sloka, we will chant. And slowly, in a small, these talks will be very small talks, so that we can complete all the 40 values over a period of some couple of talks. Now let us start this. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matisyajyatam papauha paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matisyajyatam papaughah paridhuyatam bhavasuke doshonusandhiyatam Atmecha vyavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. Now, when this is applicable to at any level sadhana. Whether suppose a karma kandi is there, example. He has to do some yajna yagadi karma or puja, anushthan, upasana karma. He has to have the knowledge about it. Or in Vedantic student is there, Jnana Marga, he has to also study the nature of Brahman, nature of Atman, how the Jiva and Brahma is one and the same, through Tattvamasi Mahavakya Upadesha, or Mahavakyas of the Vedas, listening to a Guru, reflecting on them. So fundamentally, whatever we wanted to do in life, the most practical thing Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, even in the case of worldly things also. So, but wherever it is, our fundamental first thought, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Vedaha Nityam Adhiyata. First step. No, because Veda is pramana for us. Atindriya Vishayeshu Veda Pramana. Veda is not required to tell us this is a book, this is a table, this is sun. That is not required. But what cannot be seen through indriyas, sense organs, and what cannot be understood by our little minds or intellects, to make us understand all those things, Veda is required. So, a Karmakandi should study Karmakanda portion of Veda. A Jnana Margi should study the Upanishadic portion. But Veda study is important. Vedam Nityam Adhiyatam. Adhiyatam, Dhi means Buddhi. So that means what? One has Adhiyatam means what? Actually, not only we should study Vedas, Upanishads, etc. We must understand, and having understood, let us keep them in all our hearts and not to forget again. So this is a big process of studying regularly, understanding the Veda, right? And keeping it in our own selves, safely, in our own self. That knowledge should not be forgotten. So Vedaha Nityam means what? Every day. Every day one has to spend at least some time in the study of Vedas. Now, Veda Pathanam also is a great sadhana. But here Adhiyata means what? Not only mere Parayanam, but we must also go and study in depth the meaning of all these Upanishadic statements, declarations. Think all these things. And because, in Upanishads, the most invigorating ideas are presented. They refresh our thinking. They remove all our wrong notions in our mind and intellect. They correct our thinking. Upanishad gives us correct perspective. So in all these things you put, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, what do you call? Vedaha Nityam Adhiyatam. Moreover, regular study is required. Why? Because we all of us are living in this world and our sense organs are fitted outside. Paranchikani Vitrunat Swayambhu Parang Pashyatina Antaratman. Because our sense organs are always turned outside and see only the external objects. And we move day by morning till evening in the midst of most tempting objects. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, always the sense organs bring all kinds of data and the mind gets tempted. We get tempted. We are drawn outside only. We are unable to withdraw the senses and turn them within. Now, in order to do this while living in the world, morning till evening, when we all wake up, all of us, without any exception, we are all exposed to this world. New forms, new sounds, new taste, new touch, everything. So now, when we are exposed to that, how do we maintain our vision, our goal? How do we get inspired? Or how we maintain that inspiration of our goal, chosen goal, when we are being tempted or when we are moving in the world outside, in the midst of tempting objects? How to maintain that vision always? This is possible only by reinforcing ourselves again and again by the study of scriptures. We should not forget the goal. We should not forget the purpose of our life. And so we are inspired to know, to march ahead on the path of evolution through the study of scriptures. Therefore, study of Upanishads always keep us on the track. So when these mantras, when we understand, when we really study, so every day I am charged. So it gives me special strength to say no to the outer world. It's not that, bar padke kya fayda. What is the use of studying again and again and again and again? I studied. So Gurudev Swami Chinmayanand used to say that, somebody went and asked him, I have gone through Gita 18 times, he said. I had gone through Bhagavad Gita for 18 times. So Gurudev said, let Gita go through you only once. I have studied Gita, but had Gita gone through me, into me, and settled in me, in my heart? That's the question. So therefore, to keep ourselves always charged, to remain ourselves on the path, what is absolutely necessary is what? Study is the only way which will kindle our inspiration, or it maintains our kindled inspiration, and it adds more and more fire to it, so that I am more and more charged. And they remain charged all the ways, all the time. So therefore, one of the best sadhana is Vedaha Nityam Adhiyata. Study scriptures regularly. Study Vedas regularly. Chanting may become boredom. Chanting may, if you don't know the meaning of it, you may not be inspired. You may not be inspired, not in all cases. Some people may not get inspired. How long I chant this without understanding the meaning. So when you reflect the meaning, when you study it regularly, when you understand that adhiyatam, then that inspiration is maintained. So the first step to progress is what? Every day, half an hour or 1 hour, depending upon the availability of your time, we must spend every day some time in studying good books. So take a book, complete it in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Keep writing notes with pencil. As soon as the book is about to be completed 1 week before, choose another book of scriptural book. Or any inspiring book. You take it. Again, read it completely. Before that complete ending of that, another book is selected. Like that whole life, we must have some kind of a book to study. So if suppose somebody wanted to ask us, the best question would be for the other person to ask us is, what are you studying nowadays? Which book you are studying nowadays? This was a question actually 30-40 years back. They used to ask, Aajkal kya pad rahe ho? Some people detective novel, which detective novel? Which spiritual book you are reading nowadays? That was the question you used to be asked. Now we are more and more distracted because of electronic gadgets, mobile phones, etc. So many things. So therefore, one is most important sadhana is what? Vedaha Nityam Adhiyata. And Veda is what? Apaurushayam, not written by anybody. Rushayaha mantradashtaraha. They are rishis of some of those mantras and gave us. Vedas are anadi. Veda is anadi means beginningless. Anantavai Vedaha. Vedas are also ananta. So therefore, this is a very beautiful value. To begin our journey on the path, we must dedicate our time for what? For our spiritual sadhana. Every day we must study Vedas. That's the first value Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya gave us. Second one, what? Taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam. Now, a passive study is not enough. Or I intelligently understood, I am now, what is that? Taduditam karmasu anushthiyatam. Therefore, these ideas, what we study in karma, suppose a karma kandi is there. So karma kanda, vidhi is there. Vidhi vakya means what? We have to perform. Vidhi vakya performs. We have to perform. By merely studying vidhi vakyas, there is no point. Dharma has to be practiced, karma has to be done. Values are to be lived, not values are to be understood. So values are to be lived. So when values are lived, they become virtues. Think. So dharma has to be lived. Karma has to be practiced. If it is karma kanda mantras, has to be practiced. And if it is Upanishadic statements, when we study as a Jnana Margi, when I study Upanishadic, day Vedo Rityamathyatam, meaning I study scriptures every day. So taduditam karma swanushtita means what? Whatever the beautiful, the things are pointed out in the Vedantic declarations, Upanishadic declarations, they are to be brought into my everyday life. Think. So there must be an involvement. They must be followed diligently in my everyday life. All that I have studied must and should be practiced. Tad uditam. Whatever Veda speaks about it. Karmasu anushtiyata. So one thing, karmasu anushtiyata means one has to diligently perform the duties ordained by them. So whatever duties are ordained, their duties are ordained for brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi also there are vidhi nishedas are there. Only atyashrama is beyond all this. So sannyasi also has some rules and regulations. So there is some kind of nitya anushtanam has to be practiced by even sannyasi also. That also depends upon the graded sannyasis. More we evolve as sannyasis, then the nityam will be only brahmachintanam or onkar upasana. Or some sannyas would do upasana also, other upasanas. And then these values, what we studied in Upanishads, are to be lived. That is the main important thing. So, the lifestyle suggested by the rishis must and should be lived. That is called taduditam karmasvanushtuyata. This is a big challenge. So therefore, normally what happens between the, first of all, see, the thing is, first I study, between my studies and understanding, there is a big gap. I study, but not understood as the Shruti Mata wants me to understand the scripture. As the Shruti Mata wants me to understand the scripture, if I understand as it is, so yatha shastram, yatha anushtitam, all rutam, satyam, all those things will come. So if I understand correctly the scriptures, that's one part of it. So there's a gap between study and fully understanding as it has to be understood. There's a big gap. This first gap has to be. Second gap is what? After having understood fully, then implementing it in our life fully, there's a gap again. So this gap has to be filled. And it takes some time. Not that I have studied something and understood fully, completely, as it is. As Guru taught me, as Guru wants me to understand, I understood. Very good. But then practice, that's what no abhyasena ta kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. But abhyasa is absolutely important. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tan nirodha. So a practice is necessary. And vairagya also necessary. Anyway, that is a very different subject. So abhyasa is necessary. So therefore, between what having understood correctly the scriptures, I must live them. Live them in my practical life. I must demonstrate and I must live a Upanishadic way of lifestyle. The lifestyle proposed by Upanishads. Upanishadic way of lifestyle, if I can live, that's a great achievement. So that's a practice. So therefore, taduditam karmasu anushtiyata. Very wonderful thing. Then what is happening? When we start practicing living these values in my life, then slowly all other unwanted thoughts will go away. Now see, our Paramacharya, Kanchi Paramacharya, Sri Chandrasekhara Saraswati Swamigal says in one of his books, so beautifully mentioned, Swamiji mentions, Paramacharya mentioned, that if we follow Vedic lifestyle as prescribed by the Veda, all of us, whatever we are eligible to practice and whatever our grade of our understanding, evolution, etc., if we follow the Upanishadic way of lifestyle, Paramacharya says, there won't be any time left to engage ourselves in self-destructive activities or any kind of adharmic activities. So Veda Marga, Vedic lifestyle is so packed. So Veda knows when we give freedom to the mind, then the mind invites all kinds of things. When I have focused, when I have goal, no other thoughts and mind entertains. This is true, no? When we study for exams, during examination for students, there won't be any kind of disturbance much because their more focus is only on that, I must study well. Think. So therefore, we have to practice what we have and then practice it in a beautiful way. Let us try to aim for perfection in that practice. Aim for perfection. So as we aim for perfection, we find our levels are increasing. As Swami Chinmayananji, Pujya Gurudev would say, we must set a goal so high that you cannot reach. Then they say, why should I set a goal that I cannot reach? He says, when the goal is so high and we are trying to reach that, you find your levels are increased. And Gurudev would say, if you reach a goal, then having reached a goal, then what will you do next? You would say, again you have to put another goal. So that inspiration, that charged, looks impossible, doesn't matter. But the more that kind of a goal we set, more we grow. Similarly, we must be charged always, every day, so that our goal should be there. Remember, Atma Sakshatkaram, liberation is our goal. So I must try to live all those things that are taught by the scriptures. I must try to practice them in my day-to-day life. Isn't it? So, therefore, second value is what? Taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam. And then when we practice it, what is happening? Mind and intellect doesn't dissipate its energies. Why? I am always practicing it, and there is no chance given for the mind and intellect to destroy itself. Like students' mind doesn't go anywhere just before exams. If there's so much they are focusing on exam, they want to pass, so they don't get distracted by many things, at least that particular period. They're more focused. Similarly, when I'm really charged myself by studying the scriptures every day, then I started practicing those values and that lifestyle in my life. Then what is happening? So I become so busy in this kind of daily living, in this way, Upanishadic way of living, or Bhagavad Gita way of living. So mind is not free enough to get distracted, to get destroyed. That's the secret. That means what? Unwanted emotional disturbances won't take place. Why? Objects cannot disturb me. Why? Mind is not available to get disturbed. That's a beautiful thing that is said in second value. So therefore, two values we saw in this class. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karma swanushthiyatam. So the next class, we will take up the third value. Onwards, we will start. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Arihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Arihi Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all. Hari Om.